Om Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Hari Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Today, such a beautiful gathering of devotees. The hall is full today. And also many sitting outside also they are listening. The topic given to me is to discuss about silent spirituality in Sri Ramakrishna Temples. When I first saw the topic, I was little amazed to think, what is the theological background of this term, silent spirituality? If you add any adjective to a noun, then the adjective have multiple opposites also. So when you say silent spirituality, is there any noisy spirituality? In order to make it clear whether the silent and noisy is opposite words, so can there be a noisy spirituality also? And whether it is silent or whether it is noisy, it refers to the sound. Sound is something very important in our life. Today we will analyze what is this sound. In physics, the sound is being studied and people have lots of interpretations about what is sound. It is only a mechanical vibration. This vibration is produced by coming into together and striking each other from two objects. That is called sound. Suppose I am speaking to you, you are listening to me, you are listening to the sound of my words. May not be exactly words, but the sound of words is coming to you. How the sound has come? Because my palate is touching my lips. And it is because of the touch of the two objects, the sound emanates. Like that, they will say sometimes, one hand doesn't make a sound. So what does that mean? That means unless the hand touches another object, the sound will not come. Likewise, a flute. A person is playing flute. How the sound comes? His lips, through the lips, he is sending the air through that bamboo and the sound comes. So in nature you find lots of sounds coming, having touched between the two objects. So if one object alone is there, will there be a sound? So they say there are different types of sounds are there now. Now one of the sound which is coming to us, if it is understandable, if it is readable by the mind, if it can be cognized by the mind as having a pattern, that is a sound. And if that is not, if it is disorganized, if it is coming from different quarters and you cannot see any pattern, then that is called noise. So, the sound of clearness, the sound that comes to us with clear pattern, and it comes in udatta, anudatta, as we say, the rising and then going down in the melody becomes a music. So if you say sarikama pada nisa, all the seven swaras cannot be put in one line. Suppose you draw a line, it cannot be one line. It has to go up and down. So that's how the sound emanates and it comes in wave form. So this sound is very important. But in spirituality, where is the noisy spirituality we find? Yes, technically speaking, there is a noisy spirituality. Why? Suppose we go to a Ter Thiruvizha. You'll find thousands and thousands and thousands of people are there. And the drums are beaten. And singing is going on. And you are staying in your house. And you are listening to the noise. Because nothing you can hear in that. No discerning pattern can be found. That is noise. Sometimes, if you know that the sound is very clear and you can discern a pattern, even then it can be a noise to me. Suppose you are playing violin, the next door he is playing violin, and I have got exam tomorrow morning. So that violin, though I know that raga is being played, but that will be noise for me. Why don't you ask him to stop the violin? We say. Because the noise is a cacophony of sounds. Sounds of dissimilar, sounds that do not give you a pattern. That is called noisy, we say. In spirituality also we do that. We go to the temples, we go to different places, and we forget that there is a sound that can emanate without the touching of two objects. We forget that. And that sound, unhurt, that sound is within us. We do not know what it is. So you find that very interesting, that these type of sounds that we hear outside, they are called dhoni. What type of dhonis? Ahata dhoni, they call it. In Sanskrit, it is called ahata dhoni. That means it has been touched. Two objects come together and touch each other and strike each other. So how the bell sound comes? In the temple, we just pull that rope, and then the bell, that tongue touches the bell, outer ring, then the sound comes. So that is called ahata. It has been attacked. It has been struck. Struck sound is called ahata dhoni. But there is a dhoni, our rishis have found out, which comes unahata, completely without touch of second object. That is called anahata dhoni. What is anahata dhoni? Is nothing but the sound that you hear as Om. Today, during this meditation time, that Santosh Maharaj was beautifully, he chanted the Om. It's actually, Om is a three matra, it's called. Whatever we say, ka, pa, ta, cha, etc., Vajans, they are called one matra. This a, I, e, that is also one matra. Then if you extend it, like ka, e, u, like that, that is two matras. But Om is to be pronounced in three matras. So this three matra Om is so beautifully it came. This sound is present in this nature, but we do not know. When you come to Yelagiri, you will find, I do not know how many of you have visited. If you have not visited, I invite you again, you can please come there. And such a beautiful place, you can hear sounds that you can discern. You see, the peacocks come and they peck on my window, give me something to eat. So I come out and give some grains, and they're happy. Like that, birds, chirping of the birds. Can you find a music in the air? Yes. When the air flows, wind blows, at that time you can see how the sound comes through the trees. Or sometimes when the rains just come down and the waters come down on the trees. And also when walking on the dry leaves, the rustling sound. These are all music for my ears because I have been hearing it and I am trying to find a pattern in that. So this nature itself produces sound. Actually it is called Nada Brahmam. The whole Prapancham has come out of Nadam, of the sound only. Sound is the original matter which was the basis for producing this entire universe. That's why you find everywhere you see, the sound is very important for us. And that you go through the noise, it is all required. Tirthiruvizha is definitely required for us. Through the noise, we generally go and slowly evolve into a stage where the noise sound is completely absent. There is a silent sound. Now you may say, Swamiji, is this not a kind of opposite things? Can there be a silent sound? Yes. Do we sleep? Of course, very few people get this, that type of nidra, that type of sleep, where you don't have any swapna, any dreams. A dreamless sleep, sushupti, very few people get. If you know, there are apps that has been found out to measure your sleep. Every day people measure the sleep. Even what I have got, the fitness watch, it also measures. So every day I can see how did I sleep. So it is a REM sleep, then core sleep, then etc. It analyzes. And it tells me how many times I was awake in the night. So there also, when sushupti comes, when at that time, it is, instead of telling, I had a soundless sleep, what we say is, I had sound sleep. Where was the sleep in sushupti? There is no sound there. But still, we say sound sleep to indicate a noiseless sleep. That means the sushupti is considered as a pre-level for samadhi. Some of the saints have found out the sushupti is the state. Not that sushupti that we are having, that we have gone into samadhi. No, not like that. Sushupti is a pre-level stage where the mind is completely gone and only one thought remains, one sound remains, that sound of Om only remains. There is nothing else. Krishna says in Gita very beautifully that Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana, he says. Whenever Krishna addresses Arjuna, he uses some very pet names for Arjuna. Everywhere he doesn't call Arjuna as Arjuna. He have different names, Dhananjaya and so many other names. So one of the names is Kurunandana. He was happy when the Kurus hear the word of Arjuna, they are all very happy. He is the dearest of the Kurukula. So he says Kurunandana. Why he has brought this Nandana words, this happy word? Because when the mind becomes completely concentrated and one-pointed, ekeha. Iha means in this spiritual life. Eka. Buddhi is a Strilingam in Sanskrit, so it is called Eka. Eka here, Iha Eka. It is one-pointed, it gives you joy. So immediately addresses Arjuna as a Kuru Nandana, because you give joy to the Kuru followers. See how the joy he is connecting there. Very beautifully. And then he says that if your mind is not one-pointed and it doesn't come to the one sound, then what happens? It is Bahushaka. It is multiple directions. The mind is running here and there. Bahushaka. Okay, Bahushaka, let it be, but at one time it will come to an end? No. Anantascha. It is infinite. Ananta. It goes on and on and on. Mind is having thoughts after thoughts after thoughts. How many thoughts? You cannot even count it. At least one day you leave it, 1 hour you leave it, I take 1 minute. You try to measure your thoughts. How many thoughts you had? Very difficult to measure. Very difficult to control the thoughts. The thoughts are coming to us. So he says, Vyavasayatmika buddhi, those who are well determined, highly resolute. Very beautiful explanation Swami Chidvanji gives in this sloka. He says a mind which is completely controlled, in whose vasha, in whose control the mind has become, then he will have only one idea. Now in deeper meditation, in samadhi avastha, etc., what happens? That only one thing remains, and that is Brahmanada, that is being represented as Om. What is Om actually? Swamiji says it is a sound symbol of Paramatman. There can be many symbols. There can be art symbol. You can write like this Om. That is an art. Like that you can have a statue symbol. In Belur, if you go, Swamiji's temple is there, and above the Swamiji temple, there is a temple called Om temple. It's only Om is there. So that Om is, that can be also represented in a statue. In a stone you can be represented. So like that many representation can be there, but this Om itself is a sound symbol of Brahman. Then how does Ramakrishna Mission Temples bring you this silent spirituality where you go deeper and deeper and become silent absolutely? I have seen when I was in Singapore, we used to have these birthday festivals. At that time, when the birthday festival is there, naturally people come together and we all sing together. It's all going on. Sound is going on bigger and bigger and bigger. And then after some times, when we are all getting down for prasad distribution, 2-3 people will be sitting in the temple quietly. Now they have gone to that stage where they do not want any type of external sound. They want to listen to the inner sound. When people come to Yaligiri, I tell them, have you heard the palpitation of your heart? Dhak, 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 are you hearing? Then you have heard the sound. You know, sound is very physically we can hear the sound. Very broad sounds which are all that like thunder. We all hear that. But there can be finer and finer and finer sounds. And that is what a religious person, a spiritual aspirant, is supposed to discover within himself. How many of us can discover? One Tengachi Swaminathan stories are there. So in one story I heard that one Raja takes his son and then to that Muni. Then Muni says, what do you want? No, I want to know, please test my son, whether he can become next king. Now he is Yuvaraja. Whether he can become fit or not. You have to find out. Then Muni says, okay, leave him with me. So that boy is left there, that prince is left with him. Then Muni says, go 2 kilometers away, there is a hut. You go and stay there alone. 1 week after you come and tell me what you heard there. Then the boy goes and lives in that cottage. And then 1 week after he comes back and he says, oh Gurudev, I heard some sounds. What did you hear? I heard the garjan of lions. I see. And then there was one day a great rain was there. And the thunder sound came. I heard this thunder sound. I said, okay, now it's not yet ready. You are not ready. So go and stay for another week. So the boy went back to that cottage. 1 week next he came. Then the Muni asked, what did you hear this time? Then he said, I heard the goats crying for food. They are searching for leaves. And the goats, ma'am, they are doing that I heard. And then what did you hear? Then I heard that so many sounds from the forest. Like that he was telling one by one, which is equivalent to the goat sound. That type of sounds he heard. I said, no, you go back, come back next week. And next week he came. This time what type of sound he heard? Then he told him, surprisingly you see, I heard the sound of dew falling on the rose flower. Dews falling. Naturally sound must come. Is it not? Physics says 2 objects coming together, a sound must come. So that cannot be wrong. So the dew coming, falling slowly on the rose flower, and there is a sound. I heard that. Then he called your father. Then he handed over to him. The boy has come of the age now. Now he is fit to become next king. Because a king has to listen to the grievances of his people. How many kings can listen? Those people who are ruling us, they don't even listen to us. You can see the present political situations like that. But the kings must be very, very concentrated. And they will have to hear what you speak, what you don't speak, that also they should know. That is how the king has to run his kingdom. So the sound, you see, can go low and go so subtle it is, you cannot even understand, because our ears are equipped with certain level of frequencies. And if that goes down, then you cannot hear. Just like light. We see this light because our eyes are equipped with a particular frequencies which we can see. And there are ultrasound light. Can we see that? We cannot say. There also you see sound is there, ultrasound. The sound comes. Even in camera, when you take camera pictures, a blue sky, beautiful blue skies. But if it comes with a little speckled, then you say that it is noise is there. The camera has got a noise. Go and get it right. Like that they say. Even camera there is a noise. You see? So where anything disturbing, that is you cannot detect a pattern, that becomes the noise. So in the Ramakrishna temple, when you come there, there is no, communally we sit together, now we did bhajan, etc. We do that in our temples. But our temple is designed specifically for meditation. That's why our temples are called meditation. In foreign countries, many places, we do not call it temple. We call it meditation center. It's because of that. People come and leave all the external sounds and try to look for internal sound. Because the Om is within us. That sound we must hear. So a silent spirituality, if you want to practice, where can you go? Only Ramakrishna temples. These Ramakrishna temples are something unique is there. See, some places you find where temples are there. Yes, we do revere temples. I myself go to temples and to have darshan of deities. As one deity is there, and there are the different explanations are given in our shastras, in our tradition, etc. So nothing should be abandoned. The temples must remain, because a man has to travel from one truth to another truth. That is how spirituality goes on. So naturally, we have to stay in the noisy atmosphere. From the noisy atmosphere, you must raise to the level of a silent atmosphere. For that only temples are designed. So when you have the temple, why the temple is designed spaciously? To give you an idea of the space. The space is infinite. When you sit above, our temple is there. When you sit there quietly, when nobody is there, of course, every time the temple is open, at least 40-50 people are sitting here. I am very happy to see that any time I have come here, the temple I see, and already people are seated quietly. They are only thinking or doing the japa or dhyana. So at that time what happens? The sound is becoming less and less and less. So there is no question of singing or playing instruments, etc. All these things will come one day. Yes, it is required. But the man progresses from the noise to the soundless. And soundless means we think that there is no sound at all. No. The eternal sound, the Adi sound, the original sound of Om is present. To understand that Om, to get to know that sound, to listen to that sound vibration is what all spiritual exercises. So in Ramakrishna Mission temples, it is not only spacious, it is not only representing many cultures. You'll find there are specific temples dedicated to the specific type of cultural pattern in architecture. Whether it is Dravidian architecture, or it is Kalinga architecture, or it is Hoysala architecture, any type of architecture you find, they are all separately dedicated to that. But Ramakrishna Mission temples are called universal temples. There is no specific architecture you can see and then identify with that. Only holy, solely, you cannot. Because it contains, it mixture of so many types of architecture you can have. Even in the physical architecture, we mix up so many things. So that it gives an idea, when you enter the Ramakrishna Mission Temple, you will know that I have come to a place, I have become universal. I am going to join with the universal cosmic Atma, which is called Paramatma. And I am individual, I am Jivatma. This is what going to happen in the temple. That's why I have to take up that these temples are designed in that way. I do not know exactly what is the reason, but to me it appears that any type of Ramakrishna temple, when you go and sit, your mind is quietened down. It is softened, and it is listening less and less of the external sounds. And you are able to think calmly, quietly, and drive into yourself. Go back into yourself. Introspectively, you will see how beautiful things are coming up. Some people say, Swamiji, when I came and sat in Durban when I was there, one English lady used to come. And she used to do a lot of meditation. So we were very happy, a devotee coming and doing meditation naturally. She used to tell me, when I come and sit, at that time only, when everything is quiet, naturally my mind also should be quietened down, but it is not. Rather, my mind is full of disturbances. And even the thoughts that I do not think when I am outside in my family, those thoughts also come now. What a strange mind it is. So I used to say that yes, even those things, the thoughts you could not recognize at that time, now you are able to recognize. Thoughts are sound, they're sound wave only. So now when I think, I can reflect in you, you can reflect in another person. So we are all connected. These individual thoughts, these are called small thoughts called, this cosmic thought and individual thought, this buddhi and the cosmic level, it is connected. So we are all interdependent. We can make that contribution to many people. So when you say Sarvesham, Sukhinas Santu, Sarvesham, etc., you see, when you say Sarvesham, that means you are connecting yourself to everyone. Everyone in this world. Every jiva in this world. So when I do prayer in the morning at Yelagiri, I pray for not only us, not only for our devotees, I pray for all the jivas, all the beings that are there in the forest, including a small snake or a small insect or a small butterfly. That also should get benefit of the calmness. That's why when you go, they become. In Krishna's photo, you can see behind him there is a small calf sitting. And that next time there is one tiger is there. Like that they give us. What is that? These two become, why? They become very silent. They don't pounce upon each other and then fight. And the tiger doesn't eat the calf. It is because that difference that I have to hurt you, that thought is completely absent in the presence of God. Because God is in everywhere and everything. So naturally that pagaimai, in Tamil sollapona pagaimai koodadunu solludu. And the pagaimaiங்கிற வார்த்தையை completely and போயிடுது. So there is no one anti to me. Because in me what is there, that same satta, that same truth is there in everyone. How can you make everyone against you? Who is your opposite? My opposition comes from my own mind. My mind is my enemy. So, Gita says, Uddhareda Atmanam, that you yourself use yourself to become great, to become your friend. Because you are your friend. So that's how this silent spirituality is now we can experience in Ramakrishna temples. Another factor is when we come together and we sing together, our mind all becomes together and it becomes like a bundle of one single bundle. It may be a small thread or it can be a big bundle. So if you find this, if you go to banyan tree sometimes the roots come down from the up and then it goes there. Sometimes several roots are together. So it becomes a big bundle like that. From up to down you can see that. So like that, when we are all staying together, singing together the name of God, then our mind also becomes so bundle-like. That's why we want to get benefit when this communal type of, a community type of thinking, when we have that. So our mind gets strengthened. But after some time what happens? You come and sit quietly and think of that, what is that sound inside? Can I hear the sound inside? Tantra Shastra, you'll be very much appreciative of that. We generally in Vedanta, we don't discuss this point. But in Tantra Shastra, this is very much discussed. It is called how the sound emanates within you. Now the sound outside, you leave it. But within you, how the sound is? The sound emanates at a stage which is called para. There are 4 stages of sound. So para is the first sound where the sound, root of the sound emanates. And that becomes understandable. Then it is called pashyanti. Pashyanti means seeing, that thought. So that is called madhyama. So para, pashyanti, madhyama. And then I may have a thinking, say, I want water. But I have to tell it. Can he understand straight away, I need water? No, I have to tell him. So that telling out in words is called vaikari. So here also you go from vaikari, which comes from mouth, and then you go to your heart, where the madhyama stage is there. The thought is going to get a definite form. And before that you go, pashyanti, you have detected that thought. And then go to the root of that is para. So in Tantra Shastra and in yoga, people try to find out where the thought root arises, which is para. So these 4 stages of thought itself shows how internally also it can be full of noise. When it comes to vaikari, it becomes noisy. That's why we say close your mouth and sit straight and then do your meditation. Closing your mouth, do your meditation. Singing, you can't do meditation. You can sing well, you can put your mind in that, absorbed in the singing, that can be. But when Sri Ramakrishna used to sing and dance in ecstasy, and when the ecstasy comes, when the mind goes down to the para stage, he cannot dance, he cannot sing. He has to stand still. Whatever it is, whether he's sitting or standing, he's completely still. Can you imagine a person while dancing in that same posture, completely like a statue he is standing? When Yam comes for the first time to Dakshineswar and he looks at Sri Ramakrishna, he's standing there talking, and somebody talked about Govinda. Immediately he went into Samadhi, and it's the first time he sees what is Samadhi. He never has experience. And he is standing, and in whatever position the hand is, he has become still. A video is become still like that when you make it, like that it has become. So this type of sound that inside, when the mind becomes absolutely concentrated, it becomes one. Eke hai, no bahushaka, no ananta. It is, those are all for avyavasayinam. But for vyavasayatmika buddhi, vyavasayam means, in Tamil of course, vyavasayam means farming. Farming requires one-pointed attention. That's why it's called vyavasaya. So that vyavasayatmika buddhi, when it comes to you, then what happens? You becomes eke hai, only one thought. Try to remember this Krishna's idea that how that one thought leads to in Tantra, go to the para stage. And from para stage, if you can identify with that, then you are able to listen to Om. There are great sages in Ramakrishna Mission we have known. Where I was there in Ranchi for 12 years, there is a kutia. It is called Shantananda Kutia. Shantananda was a disciple of Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi. He used to stay there and do his tapasya there. And he has seen Holy Mother in that kutia. When you go to Ranchi, please visit that place. It is in sanatorium. So there, that kutia is there, And he used to stay there, Shantananji. And when Prabhananji, he was a brahmachari, just joined. So Prabhananda Maharaj had gone there to have darshan of him. So Prabhananji writes in his reminiscences about Shantananji. He says, when I went and made pranam to Shantananji, Shantananji asked me, do you hear pranava, anahata dhvani? Do you hear? I am just a brahmachari. I have not even heard the word anahata dhvani. And he asked me that, do you hear anahata dhvani? He said, no, Swamiji, I don't hear anything like that. I have to say. And whoever comes, you would ask, Shantananji would ask, do you hear the pranava? Pranava dhvani? Do you hear? He used to ask. You see, Om was the thing, that sound he was hearing. That Om sound is the root of all sounds. That you must understand. So when you can go to the root of all sounds, you have understood all the language of all the sounds. So when your thought level goes to Pashyanti level, you can listen, you can hear, you can see in others, whatever, whether they are near or far. You know, there are stories in Puranas, you find kings understanding the talking of the ants. You know, that famous story is there, that one king in Benares, he was having breakfast with his wife on the table. So 2 ants are passing. And then the king loudly laughed. Then their queen asked, why do you laugh? I didn't say any joke or anything. And we are eating now. Why do you laugh? He said, no, the ants were talking some funny thing. That's why I laughed. So the king understood the bhasha of ants. We know how the birds speak to the rishis. You have heard that. Of course, the story goes of a different. I am not going to the story. I am telling you that the language of the other beings, one can understand if your thought level goes to the Pashyanti level. If you go back from the Vaikari to the Madhyama and the Pashyanti, you can listen, you can hear everything and understand it. Because Pashyanti is for that only. So, the silent, if you want to have a silent spirituality means external sound less. But there is the internal sound. That internal sound, what it is? Not the thoughts. When the thoughts are bahushaka, then you can't have sound. So that's why you have to go deeper and deeper, deeper. As I told you in the beginning, what is sound sleep? It should be actually soundless sleep, but we call it sound because that only one thought is there, that Om sound is there, nothing else is there in Sushupti. That's why it is called Sushupti is being praised. So that sound we have to go into, find out what is the root of all this sound. There is silence. Absolute silence, like that we say. But absolute silence you can't get externally. You can go into even places where there are, absolute silence, vacuum they say. There is no sound cannot emanate in vacuum. Why? Because there are no two objects. There is no medium. Air is not there. When air is not there, so there is no sound. They say, but sound is there, but sound cannot travel. That is how that it goes. So you please remember this. Ramakrishna temples are different not only in architectural patterns, not only in the functional religious life, like that you come and with a plate and then you say offer to Sri Ramakrishna and give us immediately. No, that cannot be done. You cannot do several times arati to the deity. That is not possible in Ramakrishna temples. But for that, traditional temples are there, you go there. Everywhere, traditional temples and our temples, there are certain types of differences we can see. People can understand that. So here you come for meditation and trying to find out what is the inner sound that you are hearing so that you can have a soundless spirituality, which is called silent spirituality. I'm happy that this topic has been given to you and it shared some thoughts on that. Please be, it's not enough. I have only given you just a rudimentary level thoughts to think about this. What is sound, what is noise, and how it can be gone into And where is that inner sound comes, and what is the root of the inner sound? All these things have to be thought of individually. Then only you can have the silent spirituality. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.